Light, zippy, or zesty, there are a lot of ways to describe citrus buttercream. You can use lemon, lime, orange, any type of citrus you can think of, a combination of any, and it's very easy to do. Here are your ingredients, but don't worry, there will be a link below that will give you nutrition information and details as usual. So it doesn't matter what kind of citrus you want to use, you just want to make sure you wash it well with some water or some vinegar and water. Don't use soap. Then you're going to need some really nice quality butter, some powdered sugar. I do recommend a zester and a juicer if you have one, and then of course a cup to catch everything. Now let's set some of this stuff aside and get started. No matter which citrus fruit you use, it is the same way when it comes to zesting. I like to hold it at the points because it's less likely to slip out of your hands and hurt yourself. And then you want to zest until you just start to see a pale yellow. Stop before you see white. If you see white, it can be a little bit bitter, and you want to avoid that when you're making a zest for your buttercream. Now, don't be tempted to go rubbing your finger on this to get the excess off. Just either use the back of a spoon to scrape it off or just discard it. There's no sense in cutting yourself here. And then you're just going to put your zest into a bowl and set it aside. We will go over briefly how to do a lime and an orange as well. The lime, you're going to do it the exact same way. You're going to look for a pale green, and then you're going to stop. You're going to turn it every so often, and if you see white showing up, you don't want that. Again, if you see white, it will be bitter. It's not a very difficult process to do. See, this is what you're looking for, really pale green. Again, you're going to scrape that into a bowl and set it aside. Now, if you're going to mix this all together, there's no reason you can't just use one bowl. So keep that in mind. If you were wanting to use this separate, I do recommend washing off your cutting board between each use, because if not, you're going to get a little bit of lime in with your lemon and some orange in with your lime, and nobody wants to mix things if they don't like the taste of one or the other. Again, the fruit for the orange, you do the exact same way. And if you're only needing about a teaspoon worth, you don't have to zest the entire fruit. But if you want to, you can zest it and dry it out and use it for future reference. I like to zest it all and then put it in the freezer. It actually holds up really well in the freezer. Once you have your zest done, I do recommend washing off your knife and your cutting board and then drying it. And then you can roll that fruit to make it easier to squeeze on your cutting board before you cut it. Make sure you move the knife out of the way so you don't accidentally jab yourself. I've done it, trust me, it's painful. Then just cut it open, and you can either squeeze it by hand or use one of these juicers, which is just wonderful if you can get one because it takes a lot less effort and time. Now, once you have your juice, you have the option to pour it into the zest and make it really pungent, or you can keep it separate. That is entirely up to you. The next step is you're going to need some softened butter, and if it's unsalted, you want to add a pinch of salt, about 1/8 of a teaspoon or 1 gram. And we're going to mix this until it's nice and creamy like this, and then we're going to add in some powdered sugar, a little bit at a time. If you add it all in at once, it'll be gritty and grainy. So I would add a couple tablespoons at a time and just continue to mix it and beat it until it is really nice and smooth like this. This is where you want to add in your zest. You can use just the lime, the lemon, the orange, or you can mix them all together. And today I'm just going to mix them all together, but obviously any citrus fruit can do. You can use one or a mixture of all. It's an absolutely beautiful flavor if you mix them all. I recommend just playing around with it as you learn to make buttercream. Once you're done at this point, it is a very stiff frosting. You can use this to decorate cakes if you like, or if you want to loosen up a little bit, you can add in some juice. I just like to use a little bit at a time and then mix it and see what the consistency looks like. If you're trying to spread it on a cake, it might be nice to have a looser consistency, for instance. The more juice you can use, the more tart it's going to be, so I recommend trying to put as much as you can. Visit us at jacksonsjob.com for more recipes, and as always, happy baking.